Morning. So yes, it's time for another fitness fragrance review, and today I'm doing Bentley Infinite Intense. This is actually the second time I've owned this. This was, I think, probably third or fourth fragrance I ever owned, and I wore it a lot in my first job. I wanted to kind of go back to it at some point, and obviously I've bought it again in recent months. And yeah, just kind of see, do I still like it? Because I quite liked it at the time. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And obviously coming out in 2015, it's still quite readily available. Is it one that I'd recommend for other people? It's been compared a little bit to Terre Hermes, which is a signature scent of mine. So what we'll do, we'll talk about how similar it is in a minute with the note breakdown. But if you haven't seen these before, essentially what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a morning workout. So I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to walk to the gym, do a gym workout, and walk back, all while wearing this fragrance. So I'm going to rank it on 5 categories: so price, value for money, versatility, its projection, complement factor, and then its longevity. And we do a couple of tests in between, so how much it fills my room and if it survives a shower. So yeah, we're going to put it through its paces essentially today. I'll do the first 2 categories on my runs. We'll talk about price, value for money, and versatility on that. Before we go for the run, let's talk about the note breakdown. Just having a little look at the note breakdown here. This is obviously, as I was just saying earlier, compared to Terre Hermes. Now, I can get why, because the top notes in this, if we look at it, is black pepper, violet leaf, lavender, and geranium. The pepper in this is what you get from like that Terre Hermes sort of pepper. This doesn't go citrus though, so this one obviously, as we said earlier, has violet leaf, lavender, and geranium. So it's got more of a greenness to it. Where I'd say Terre Hermes has this more orangey citrus, it's like an earthy orange. This one's more green, fresh, spicy, and that sort of vibe. So yeah, that violet leaf and the lavender and stuff just gives a bit more of a floral component, let's say. In the heart, you've got nutmeg, adds a bit more spice with the black pepper, elemi, benzoin, and ambergris, which gives a bit, again, that sort of clean musk sort of smell to it. Then in the base, you've got the vetiver, which I think brings certainly the more masculine vibe. This is definitely a masculine fragrance, by the way. Certainly get that from this, and it's that kind of earthy vetiver. It's not that sort of clean vetiver. Patchouli, again, bringing a bit more of that earthiness. Cedar and moss, and again it has that extra green. So this is very much a fresh, spicy green type fragrance, and yeah, very, very masculine with that being said. Yeah, and what's the overall thing it says on Fragrantica? Fresh, spicy, warm, woody, and that is exactly it. It's just clean, masculine, but the pepper is the real dominant thing here, and you'll notice that throughout the whole time of this fragrance. So if it is of importance to you, this is what the bottle looks like. Probably can't see it that well because there's a lot of glare at the minute because it's pitch black at the minute, but yeah, this is what the bottle looks like. You obviously got the Bentley logo here, tells you Bentley Infinite Intense. Just a cheap sort of cap, to be honest with you. Now normally this hasn't, I don't know what's happened with this wasn't broken when I got it, but this has come very loose, but you can tell it's just a cheap sort of plastic. Does it affect the fragrance at all? No, sprays absolutely fine. So yeah, it's a nice bottle. I don't think it's quite as nice as the Bentley for Men Intense and Bentley for Men Absolute type bottles, but it looks pretty classy, to be honest with you. But yeah, it is cheap plastic overall, to be honest. This might actually be a metal lid though. No, I take it back, it's not. But yeah, it's very much in that sort of car fragrance type vibe. Easy to hold. I quite like the fact it's thinner at the bottom so you can grip it a bit better. But yeah, ultimately for me, it's how it smells and how it performs during my run this morning. So yeah, let's get out there before it probably starts raining. Okay then, so price slash value for money. So if you've just seen the prices there, they're around sort of £20 to £25 for this fragrance. Now what would I pay for this? If I was blindfolded, what would I be happy to pay for this? Well, I'd probably say about £30 to £35, so not massively more. But what I would say with this fragrance is the notes are quite safe. You've seen those notes in many fragrances, so it's not doing anything that breaks the mould. It makes you think you've got to pay really high prices. But what I think Bentley have had to do over the years is where they've done so many good fragrances, Bentley for Men Intense, Bentley for Men Absolute, they've done Silver, they've done loads of others. It almost feels like they've got to hold themselves to that higher standard. And this definitely has that quality about it. It doesn't smell synthetic at all to me. And I feel like they're a victim of their own success essentially. So yeah, they really pride themselves on making things smell really classy and expensive. And I think what this does, without being anything groundbreaking in terms of uniqueness, it's got that kind of next level. So let's say you're someone who's 18, 19, or all your life you've been wearing those kind of more youthful scents. those blue fragrances. This feels like a step up in terms of maturity, class and sophistication. So to me, this is the best way I can describe it. You've gone from that immature juvenile sort of teenager to someone who's now in a relationship and wants to settle down, wants to be a bit more of a serious character, young father type guy. This is that sort of fragrance, you know, you're now dressing out, you've got a proper job, earning a big income, or a decent income to live on. I think that's what this is. You know, it's a very nice peppery sort of fragrance, but you've lost that sort of sweetness in it. It's much more fresh, spicy, dry vetiver, peppery. Essentially just smells like a man. You know, a man's man, a young man who's well put together. And I think Bentley's done a very good job of that. So, yeah, it's not groundbreaking in terms of smell. You know, it's nothing that you've not smelled before. So it's got nuances of the original Ted Hermes, but it definitely smells more than well worth that price. You know, it's absolutely fine. Only potential issue, same with a lot of the Bentley fragrances, I think you can only get them in 100ml. So if you don't like it, you might not be happy spending sort of £22, £23, but I don't think you can go and test it anywhere. I still think it's worth it. For that reason, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. You know, it's an everyday wear type fragrance. You can wear it most of the year. Hot summer's day, it's a little bit heavy maybe. But yeah, great fragrance, very safe. And if you want that Ted Hermes vibe as well, someone who knows their fragrances for a decent, respectable price, this will do that job very well. But yeah, 8 out of 10. Right, on to Versatility. Trying to talk a little bit quieter today because where it's a little bit colder, I'm sort of spitting everywhere and snot's flying everywhere, which is really horrible. So sorry if you get caught in that on this one. But yeah, versatilities. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different seasons, different occasions, different ages. Well, I think first of all we need to say this is a men's fragrance. This isn't for women. That pepperiness in this, you know, the florals, the spice that you get from all those woods as well. It's very dry. It doesn't have any sort of fruity sweetness at all with this one. You know, you've got a bit of musky sort of cleanness from the lavender and the ambergris, but no, this is definitely for men because it is a very much fresh, spicy fragrance. Again, I don't think this is for a younger person. This isn't really an entry-level fragrance, even though I did experience that. This is gentlemanly. That's the word I'm looking for. Gentlemanly. It's not got any sort of blue shower gel type vibe. This is much more someone who likes those sort of, yeah, a little bit more depth to their fragrances. It's not a gym fragrance. It's formal. It's very formal. Again, it's something you'd like to dress up a little bit more. You could easily wear it casually though. If you're someone who's a bit more grown up, casually, this has got signature scent potential. Absolutely fine. But I think you've got to have tried a few fragrances. As I said, I feel like this is the sort of fragrance where you've got to, it's a step up. You've gone into those playful cheap ones. Now you want something that smells a little bit more expensive, a little bit more classy, but not quite that top level of like spending loads and loads. So it just sort of is a transition type fragrance, I think, for that. And it works so well for those seasons. I think this is very much spring fall. I don't think it's the one that you're going to choose when it's really cold, because again, it's not got this really sweet or strong like leather notes or anything like that. But it's not really got any citrus in it either, which is bizarre because it smells like it might do, but it's not. It's just that lavender and clean musk I think you get in. So it's maybe not the most ideal for summer either, but absolutely fine if you want to. So if you're someone who sort of dresses quite smartly anyway, and just dresses well and likes that sort of figure being well put together, that's what this is. So I'd probably say 25 and up. You've got to have tried a few fragrances first. I think you could wear this with a suit. I don't think it's as good as some of the other ones, like, you know, that I've reviewed recently, you know, like a Baronda, but it's not going to be at that sort of price. And I'd say Bentley for Men Intense and those ones are better for that. But this will do more of those everyday sort of jobs. You know, if you're meeting up with some friends, if you've got a nice networking meeting, day, night, no problem at all. So 25 and up, I think anyone older gentleman would be absolutely fine wearing this. My dad's had it, doesn't love it, but he certainly doesn't mind it. And yeah, as I said, you're going to leave a positive impression. I think that's the thing. And for that reason, I can't give it a bad score for versatility, but I wouldn't use it for the gym, you know, and I'm certainly not using it for like a date night or anything. It doesn't bring that sort of attractiveness in that way. This is just more gentlemanly. So for that reason, I'm going to give it, let's go 7.5. I think it's pretty good. You know, I'd be happy to wear it in most situations, but I think transition seasons, as I said, smart casual, serious sort of formal occasions is perfect, and it's not going to break the bank. So yeah, let's get this run done anyway, and we'll get back and talk about projection. Run done 14 miles. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to spray my room. Problem is there's a bit of leaking actually at the top of this atomizer, and it's making it really hard to spray, but I'm going to do 10. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back up in a few minutes or 10 minutes time after I've had my cup of tea and something to eat, and just see how much it's filled the room. But while I'm downstairs, I'll talk about projection. Did I notice it during my run? And yeah, how strong was it? Were there any moments where I particularly picked it up? So yeah, let's get down there. My hands are freezing. I need to warm them up. Do you know, as much as a drink, this is a hand warmer today. Honestly, that is so nice. My hands are frozen. So how much did I notice the fragrance? Well, I can notice it now, first of all. So it is still there, but I didn't notice it a huge amount. Again, it's not windy today. When I did notice it was when I turned, because there was a car coming, so I was just checking out across the road. That's when I noticed it. And also when I just stopped to stretch at the end. So again, not too bad. I don't think this is going to fill a room though, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be that real strong projection. Just with the notes really. Again, they're not light notes, you know, they're not summer notes like citrus that might go quickly, but they're not those really heavy notes. As I said, this is a transition season type fragrance, and I just think that sort of pepper. I've got a black pepper fragrance actually from Marks and Spencer's, a cheap one. Doesn't last particularly long, so again, not expecting too much with this, but you never know. It's not the weakest fragrance in the world. I said there are some woods in this, so maybe it'll kick off a little bit more than I think. But I think this is a really good office scent, so I'm not expecting it to really, like, you know, offend anyone here. So yeah, finish this up, we'll go upstairs, and then we'll give a score for projection. Okay, so 10 minutes has gone by. Just finished my tea. My glasses are filthy, steamed up as well, but can I smell it as I come up the stairs? No. Right, I've come into my room now. Yeah, it's not strong. This is probably 20% tops. Yeah, you can barely smell it, to be honest. I don't think this is a room filler. I think this is one that's going to do slightly better on longevity. Obviously, I'll be talking about compliment factor in a minute. I've got some experience of that with this one, so I can maybe talk a little bit more about projection. But yeah, this hasn't projected at all. From what I've known and experienced, this is a bit of a cliffhanger type phrase. It smells quite strong to start with, and then drops off quite quickly. And I've noticed that with a lot of sort of black pepper fragrances. So I don't think that's a bad thing. It's definitely there. I'm getting that green sort of spiciness in the room, but it's just that sort of mossy smell. I'm getting that kind of base note. It already feels like we're into the base of the fragrance. So in terms of projection, didn't notice it much on my run either. So I'm going to give it a 5.5. It's not horrendous. I think it's what the fragrance is in terms of the notes and, you know, what you expect. I don't know, actually. I'm going to check if this is actually... Is it an eau de parfum? Because I've got a feeling it is. Sorry, I'll zoom right into my face. Oh, I can't see it on the bottle. Eau de parfum, yes. So it's an eau de parfum. You may be expected to do a little bit more. So I think 5.5 is fair. I think it's going to be more than enough for most people. And, you know, it's still a good fragrance. It still smells very pleasant. And yeah, you know then that if you are going for that sort of step up in smell, you know, you can wear this quite safely without thinking, oh, I'm going to stand out. So if you don't want to stand out and just be gentlemanly, I still think it does that job pretty well. We're going to head to the gym in a minute. We'll talk about compliment factor on the way. But of course, I've got to spray my arms for longevity. So do 5 on each arm. And it's going to be about 3 hours until I have my shower. And we'll see how long it lasts. So yeah, it'll be interesting with that one. I'm really not sure on longevity today. Normally I have a good idea of how long they're going to last. But yeah, I'm split with this. Anyway, time to head to the gym. It's a compliment factor. So yes, I do actually have some experience with this fragrance. So as I mentioned, this is probably one of the first fragrances I've probably got compliments on, or certainly decent compliments. When I first did my reception jobs, my dad bought me this fragrance. And I remember someone was picking me up, so I sprayed quite a lot of the fragrance on, and she never mentioned it in the car at the time. But it was super strong. It was really, really strong. I put loads on that morning. Anyway, about an hour went by at work, and in my reception job, obviously you're moving around, you're filing bits of paper, all sorts. And then a few people sort of said, oh yeah, that's Harry. And I was thinking, what's everyone talking about? And then the 4 or 5 people who I was working with all basically just standing in a circle just because there was nothing to do. And they're like, yeah, that's Harry, that's your spray, it's really nice. And it was probably the first time I got said a proper compliment by multiple people where they actually stopped and said, wow, that's really nice, that. And yeah, so I can probably say it's almost one of the phrases that really got me into sort of collecting a few during that year in reception. And I started wearing it about 3 or 4 days ago actually for a walk in the evening. And I said, oh, I tell you what, I could really smell the spray tonight. And my brother said, oh yeah, so can I, yeah, it's nice. You know, and he didn't mention it until I brought it up, but he did then say how much he liked it. So it definitely is one that maybe not necessarily again people will mention just because it's quite safe. So it's not something that really breaks new ground in terms of, you know, its scent or its profile. So maybe it doesn't get those sort of compliments that people really often would maybe, you know, go out of their way to mention, but it has done for me in this few situations. And again, I can smell it now, and it is very, very pleasant. It's a pleasant fragrance as well. It's gentlemanly. I think it's going to be pretty timeless, this as well. Okay, it came out in 2015. I can't see this ever getting old. It's that scent profile that's just never going to date. It's going to always smell like a man's man, well put together, and you're going to get good compliments in that sense. I tend to think transition fragrances, they're, again, though, it's not a blue fragrance that you normally expect to get multiple compliments for and, you know, use in every situation. But these do pretty well. You know, these do pretty well. There's body sprays that smell a little bit like this as well. And again, a lot of designer shops and clothing brands tend to focus around this sort of profile as well for men. So it's never going to go out of fashion. And I think that's why you'll always get the odd nice comment. Oh yeah, he always smells really nice, that man, or something like that. Rather than, wow, you smell amazing. For me, I wouldn't wear it for a date night. I think you could though. I said that earlier. I think you can wear it in that situation. I just don't think I'd choose it for that one because it's a bit more serious and it's not playful. It's not a sort of, you know, it's just not that sort of fragrance. It's just grown up formal. And if you're happy wearing that, people are going to mention nice things, particularly in that sort of office environment. But what am I going to give it as a score? Let's go 7.5. As I said, blue fragrances and sort of sweeter fragrances are certainly more suited to compliments. But this will get you compliments in the right situation. I think certainly through the life of the bottle, you will get some. Of course, if I get any at the gym, I'll give it up to a 10. So workout done, no compliments, but the fragrance is definitely still there on my skin. It's not super strong. I'm going to be really interested to see in a minute how it survives the shower test, but it's very pleasant, really pleasant. There is almost this citrus vibe to it. There's no citrus in it. I can only assume it's just that lavender sort of moss, musk, all mixing together. It's just really nice. I definitely am getting that 10 ms vibe. But anyway, time to have a shower and we'll see if it survives the shower test. Well, I have to say, whenever you do these videos, you never really plan too much. I don't even think what I'm going to say. I click record and then just waffle on. It kind of hasn't gone to plan this. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you a bit of what's just happened for the last hour because it's not midday. It's not been 3 hours since I applied the fragrance. And I've also not had a shower. So, what on earth has just happened? What you would have just seen essentially is armed police. Yes, at the gym, armed police. So the last clip you saw of me, I was obviously getting ready to go for a shower. I've not bothered. I'm still in my gym stuff because it's now 1:15. Why is it 1:15? Why are there armed police? Well, I'll be honest, I don't know why there is, but all I got told is as I was getting ready to sort of have a shower, I got told we're in lockdown. Don't know why, but obviously we can't leave. So what I decided to do, go back on the treadmill for over an hour and a half, to be honest. We were in lockdown for about 2 hours, and yeah, just continue my workout. So we'll do the sort of longevity now. Now it's been about 4.5 hours since I applied the phrase, minus the fact I haven't had a shower yet. So I still think that's fair to give it a score. So yeah, we'll do that now. Ooh. Tell you what, now obviously this is going to be a slightly different total to normal because obviously I've had to adapt what I've done today. Can't plan for these things, but that's really strong. Really strong. There's a police car coming by now, look. I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, I reckon that's about 70% as strong as it was when I left. So yeah, not bad. What is going on? Honestly. Anyway, I'm out, I'm safe. So yeah, the fragrance honestly smells 70-75% strong. It's really that fresh spiciness I'm getting. I'm not really getting any of the cleanness now. That pepperiness has come out, and I do find on skin chemistry with exercise and sweat, pepper does really well. So it's certainly done a lot better than the projection. Certainly done a lot better than the projection. I don't think I'd need to reapply this. Of course, if I'd had a shower, maybe I would have done. But in terms of a score, I think that's a lot better than I expected. Again, for something that's kind of a transition season, let's give it an 8 out of 10. I'm really surprised with that. I don't think you need to reapply that. It's quite warm now, as you can tell, and even with that sort of sweat and stuff, I think that's lasted pretty well. Another police car. Sorry, I'm so distracted by this, but yeah, longevity. Sorry, not confidence factor. We'll give an 8 out of 10, and yeah, we'll then talk a little bit more about everything when I get back. My head's frazzled at the minute. I'm worn out. Oh. Finally, I am back. It is 2:10. Normally at this stage you see me about an hour before. I've done about 37,000 steps. I've done 47,000 steps this morning, this afternoon I should say now, all while wearing this fragrance, Bentley Infinite Intense. It feels like an infinity ago that I did that run this morning. So yeah, how do I sort of feel? What was the total score? What was the overall score of this fragrance? Well, it was 36.5 out of 50. That's a great total. That is a really, really solid score. And I think that's what this is. It's solid. It's a solid fragrance. You know, it's that spring, fall type transition seasons. And as I was trying to sort of emphasise earlier, I feel like Bentley, they've set such a high bar in their fragrances that, you know, they can't sort of allow the bar to drop. And they certainly haven't done that with this. They've created a very easy to wear masculine fragrance that smells really good. And I've just sprayed a bit of Terre d'Hermès on the other side. And you really do get those vibes, that black pepper, that spiciness in it. It's very, very similar. Very similar. It's not a clone, because this is a lot more green. This has definitely got that mossiness, whereas Terre d'Hermès, a bit more orange in its sort of smell. But if you want that sort of vibe, if you like fresh, spicy type fragrances, this is one to really consider. It's grown up. It's quite serious. Certainly not playful at all. But it smells like someone who's quite well put together. Very, yeah, a gentleman, a real gentleman, a nice person. Looks after themselves, loves, as I said, just being well put together. And yeah, it's just a brilliant fragrance. I think Bentley fragrances are absolutely some of the best on the market. I like Lush, Bentley, you know, they're all both in my top 5. They're just brilliant fragrances. But these, you know, these have really set a standard. And I think Bentley is basically a victim of their own success almost. It's very hard for them now. They've done the Beyond collection, I believe. But yeah, sometimes these cheapies for £20-25, they smell great. It doesn't smell synthetic at all. If you can get your nose on this, I really recommend trying it because it's a good price. I don't know anyone that I've walked by that smells of this, and it's got me compliments. And yeah, I'm very glad it's back in my collection. I think when I first had it, I maybe didn't appreciate it as much. I think you need to have an appreciation for it. You need to have tried fragrances before you go to this one. This isn't a really an entry level type fragrance. So yeah, 36 out of 50 or 36.5 out of 50. Great total. It's a great fragrance. I really recommend it. Signature scent worthy, absolutely. So if you like those gentlemanly, fresh, spicy scents, absolutely go for it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. What an interesting sort of end to the video today. Certainly didn't expect that to be the sort of end of the video, but I'm very much looking forward to having a shower now and chilling out, because I'm actually going to do another video today. I'm going to film my fragrance film video. So yeah, hopefully enjoy that one. And a bit of a cooking video later on as well. So you'll see them over the next few days. And yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy those. But thank you very much for watching. And hopefully I'll catch you later.